Morning everybody, and welcome to another Q&A, which this week is recorded on Friday morning because I woke up early and I've got a job lined up at a Dunstable at 8 o'clock, and I thought, well, let's get it done, see if we can get a jump on the weekend. So if your comment doesn't come through on a Sunday, I'll put a comment on, I'll catch up with you next week. Besides, we've got quite a few still to catch up on your responses starting on the CX. Before we go on to that, well done, Molly, for getting through to the next round of Interior Design Masters. For those of you that don't know, the kid's on the TV at the moment. She's on BBC One on 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night with that Alan Carr on that interior design show. She's doing all right. We're pleased with good progress, like, and her name's Molly Cofe. If you fancy watching the other version of me, she's out there doing a thing, and also she's got her own website and she's doing a few. I actually did start asking questions. We're doing a thing about so if you go over, there's another YouTube channel out there. I'll do your link, and you can see. You can't see me, you can hear me because we didn't get the camera set up right. But hopefully this week I'll do another one. You can see me, so it's out there if you want it. Anyway, that aside. Did one about starting on the CX, and I have gone back and rewatched this video because I forgot to put adverts on it, or cards rather. But yeah, I know I got a lot of people going, "Oh, you're telling everybody to run for nothing." No, I wasn't. No, really wasn't. But anyway, not about me. You guys. So, still carrying on with this one. Gintus Nick says, Pete. He said, with all due respect, you're not doing anyone a favour to this business by giving advice to do the job cheap. It doesn't matter it takes you home. The vehicle still needs fuel and service to run on top of profits. You want to make a living for yourself and be aware of that. Please stop giving such advice and stop running this business for every driver who doesn't do the donkey job. I didn't. But okay. Jeremy Hawke says, right, I'm going to spell it out clearly. It says, you people are running a courier business. The clue's in the name. Back in the day, we never had the internet, and even now down here in mid-Devon, which is a tough area to be in, so I suppose well done with you for making it down there, Jeremy. We have to depend on our own marketing skills, due to the lack of demand in the area. Why, oh why, do you people start a business that depend on courier companies to map your family's future? Pete is a perfect example. He said, I've followed you for a while, Pete. You've done a fantastic job building a haulage company. Mate, that's very kind of you. I don't know about that, but thank you for saying so anyway. I appreciate that. And in fairness, someone said, why, you said you've been on the CX for like 5 years, when 3 years ago you were making market trading videos. I think that was record. And I actually thought, I can't have done this in 3 years. Because I'm thinking, well, I was probably in Luton for about 2 years, then in a curtain site, then in the 7.5 ton for about 2 years. I've been this way, but you work it out. No, I was in a Luton for about 18 months, and then I was probably in the 7.5 ton for about a year, or just over a year, and I've only been in this one a couple of months now. So it has been 3 years, and cool, blimey, what a 3 years they've been. But yes, thank you. He said you have skills and personality. You go out there and gain a highly paid end-user business, yet despite all the talent you have clearly demonstrated, you still choose to run a fleet and line the pockets of other businesses. You puddle splashing while the owners of other companies are running the ones that have got the villas in the med. If I was in your position in your area with your fleet, the last thing I would be doing is running transport companies. Anybody coming into this business in 2022 should ask themselves, do you have the skills to sell my new courier business to local companies? If the answer is no, then the industry is not for you. This industry is a massive chunk of European and UK commerce. It's a lot bigger than some exchange site. Hope this helps. Jeremy, yes, it does. Yeah, it does. I mean, I've always said the problem that I've got is the fact that I run the one truck that pays for me, and then we were running 2 trucks, and the other 2 trucks basically pay the office costs. So they pay for the lorries and they pay Alan Gemma's wages, which has got us to the position where we are right now, where we've managed to sort everything out and get something in place, and now we've got the 3rd truck running. That makes money into the business. I would like to get to the position where we can get up to a few more, another truck, another couple of trucks. My aim is to get to 6 lorries. Once we get to 6 lorries, I won't be driving a lorry full time anymore. Then I can take half my time doing my own individual marketing. This is probably a bit like putting the cart before the horse, but it's kind of a needs-must situation at the moment. At the moment, I really haven't got the time to go and source. We got a few end-user customers, but not enough. But I haven't got the time to directly market them, and Al hasn't got the time because he's busy with all the office work. So, but it's coming. It's I've always said if you bang your head against a brick wall for long enough, eventually that wall will fall down, and that's kind of how I feel. But I appreciate your comments. Very kind, probably overly kind, and well done you for making it down here in Devon, because like you say, not easy area to run out of. Dale Steele. All these guys who commented on your video don't seem to understand the basic principle of business, supply and demand. Now, Dale, also, I think you've got a very good point there. This week has probably been the toughest week I've had for a long time. A couple of days this week I've only had one job. Yesterday there was two of the lorries couldn't get out, and then I was bidding. In the end, I ended up taking a job picking up in Bicester at 2 o'clock that had to be delivered the next morning, which fortunately I managed to get off on the same day because a guy gave me a heads up. Thanks for that. But yeah, today's been better. Today there's a load of jobs on there, but yeah, I kind of think everyone says don't quote cheap, so I don't quote cheap. Then I don't get any jobs, and then I panic, and then I think, how far are you prepared to hold the line? Is the question. If you say, well, don't quote cheap, well, say you don't quote cheap in 2 weeks, you go for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you don't win a job. Then you've got to ask yourself the question, is it the fact that I'm holding the line, or is the line I'm holding the wrong line? And I don't know what the line is, because I haven't been running in vans for a long time. The only advice I'll give to you is try, so you work out what your bottom line is. You can't drop past your bottom line, fluctuate your price and see if you win more jobs. If you don't win more jobs by dropping the price, it's not the price. But I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm only trying to help. But anyway, Dale Steele also says, this is also Pedro, completely disagree with the fact that the CX is a backload site. He says, the way I see it works. Customer phones shipper. The shipper can't do the job, so simply outsources the job. Shipper subcontracts to you as a backload. If you get the job coming back, you can maybe price a little bit cheaper. You may class it as a backload, but it's not a backload. It's also just an ad hoc job. Also, backloads have open collection times and open delivery times. That's always my point. It's not a backload if you say needs to be collected at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and delivered ASAP. That's a hot shot. 99% of jobs are fixed times. This is fundamentally the opposite of a backload. I hear the PPL say backloads when it isn't. I don't pay £100 a month to bid on backloads. Take care, take money. Yeah, I think that is a good question. I think we might cover that in a video. There's my pen. Pen in the bag over here. Have to start this. I'm catching up on my old videos. I've been doing loads because I have a plan, and the plan is once I can catch up on a load of old videos, I'm going to start trying to do like because it seems to be popular and people seem to like it, and Tiffy goes on about it. Diary of a courier driver. So what I'll do, I think, is I'm just going to take the week. It's going to be fun. Start on Monday, because you think, well, nothing interesting happens. Then I'll find myself, I don't know, trying to get the truck off a metal post. But yeah, I think I'm going to take the week, and I might just do like a highlights. You'll probably be a week behind, because it'll take me time to edit it and all that kind of stuff. But if it's popular, I'll carry on with it. But I still want to answer everybody's questions. So I've been going mad trying to catch up on all the questions that I haven't answered, so they can get out in time for me to do this too. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point, Dale, and another video's coming your way. Florin Tanas says, just started on the CX today. Short wheelbase van, 2.4 metres, quoted on 20 jobs plus, around £65 to £70 per mile. Didn't win at least one. A job from Basingstoke to Glasgow, around 400 miles. Phoned the shipper. He laughed. He said, he phoned the shipper. I told him 300 quid. He said, I'm going to sell it for £2. I've had other people. I had another guy ring me today. I've had a couple of people. There's Luke. Hello, Luke. You're right, mate. He's going to write me a little testimonial because he says, I'm out there doing it. I told him to go for it about a month ago because I thought it was in his interest. He's very pleased. I've also had another guy ring me up who was quoting in a curtain side, and he said, I'm quoting around 120 a mile. I said, well, that sounds perfect to me. I said, I don't really know because I'm not in a van anymore. But he told me what he was quoting. He said, I've done one job in like 3 days. But I said, you've only just started. You've got the problem with no feedback. You might... Don't scream at me. You might have to go a little bit cheaper just to build your feedback up, but clock your price up as soon as you can. As far as foreigners you're concerned, if a job is going a massive distance, it doesn't always get the same kind of money. So if it's going 100 miles, you might get you should get your 65, 70p. I imagine on a short wheelbase, I guess that's what they were paying. If it's going a very long distance, sometimes people will drop their price because they go, well, look, it's 200 quid. And we used to have one driver when we were doing the subcontracting van things, which is a really bad idea. And he used to work 1 day a week or 2 days a week. He would get a job from, and he always used to do it as well. He'd get a job from like London to Edinburgh, for which he would get 50p a mile. He was only in a small van. And then he'd keep in a van overnight. And then he seemed to get a job from Edinburgh to London. So it was like, what, 200 quid going there, 200 quid going back. And he would get £400 for the week. And he would do, I don't know what diesel you're doing that, not an awful lot, I imagine, in a short van, probably small van at the time, probably 50 quid. And he goes, that's me done. That's how he used to run it. And he used to be very good at it. I don't know how he done it, but he did. But again, I never did that. So I just saw it happen. Carrying on. Doozer. It's just the worst time to start in a CX. Even if you lower your price, you don't have much chance to get the job. As the current CX climate pushed many established couriers already to bid low, this time of year it is clearly a backload platform. It's normally tough in January, February, and it normally starts to pick up round about now. So let's hope it carries on picking up. Because like I say, I had a really tough day yesterday. Thursday, rather, because this is going on Sunday, isn't it? Record did say, you said you started 5 years ago. Record, thanks for putting me right. Yeah, well done, you're right. I didn't, about 3. And he also says, your example of the guy, because I said about, I spoke to a shipper and this guy was bidding crazy money. A guy in a small van bidding £130 for a 20-mile job is very extreme. But much more common situation is caused by people bidding way too low. Shippers are looking for drivers that will do the work for peanuts. Example from today, with a short wheelbase from Glasgow, 360 miles south, the delivery 9 a.m. the next morning was advertised for 150 quid. That always makes me laugh. Job pays 150 quid, and I'm thinking, no, it don't. It really doesn't. 360 quid really should pay at least 180, probably more. If you have a van that's decent on fuel, you're going to pay around £75 in diesel, around £35 a night at cheap hotels. The delivery is in the morning, leaving the drive with 40 quid. Another example a while ago, I was in Sheffield and a job pinged up from Arbroath, 340 miles, that I quoted around 250 quid. Again, running in a short wheelbase, I ain't going to go lower than 75p a mile. Fair enough, that's about right, I'd say. And after calling the shipper a few minutes later, he told me that he was offers of 130. How on earth can anyone make a living for such money? The thing is, getting jobs out of Scotland is not always easy. Sometimes what happens with a lot of people, what used to happen with me, is I'd get big money going up there and I'd take anything coming back. I would get in a truck, £1,000. Sorry. I'd get, £1,000 to go up to Scotland. And then coming back, I might get 200 quid, 300 quid. It wasn't ideal. You don't have to drive to get it, and it wasn't coming all the way home. I might be dropping in Leeds or something, and then still go. But you think, well, okay, across the 2 days, I've got 1,250 quid. Take me hotel out, 1,200 quid, £600 a day. Less me diesel. It works, but I never liked doing it. The problem that you've got also is the fact that that if the guy is looking for someone who's going home. I also know that jobs on a Friday afternoon around here going back to Scotland also sell cheap, because there'll be people that will come down, run all around the southeast, and then go home for the weekend, and they're all looking for a job to take them home. At the end of the day, the job's going to sell what it's going to sell for. From a shipper's point of view, they're going to take the cheapest price. You put the price that you're happy doing a job for, and if you don't get the job because someone else has put a cheaper price in, that's just the way it is, Okay says, other funny thing I saw on CX recently were adverts where couriers were posting things like this: don't do jobs on a long wheelbase for less than £1 a mile. Let's be honest with ourselves. £1 a mile wasn't good even a year ago, and the cost of the diesel was £1.30. The stakes are outdated, and they seem to understand that if you do a job for £1 a mile, sooner or later you'll end up with a broken van due to wear and tear and no money to repair it. I have 2 curtain sides, so I bid prices and get jobs. But I remember the days when I was in a long wheelbase and people were underpricing their efforts, doing 150-mile jobs for less than 150 quid. Now I'm on a curtain side. Just because I was standing my ground with my prices. I have been honest with you, I didn't get probably most of the jobs, but that forced me to figure out how to make money, not how to work for free. This is true. There's plenty of work for those that work for nothing. You have got to work out your bottom line, and you've got to stick with it. And Tony, I used to work for Tony, and Tony would go, he'd say, how much you bid on it? And I'd tell him how much you bid. He went, you're too cheap. There is an argument to be made that you have to bid more money and win less jobs, but the jobs that you do, you make money on. The problem is, how many, how cheap, how dear? You work that one out. It's not for me to tell you what to do. All I do is pass on the other information. You work out your own pricing structure. I worked out my pricing structure. It worked for me. You do it your way. You might want to be dear and do less jobs. You might want to be cheap and do more jobs. As long as you're not bidding too cheap, you're not killing yourself, you'll be okay. But I can't tell you what to do. Where was we with this? Standing my ground, He said, so you had to figure out, make money. Leaflets, business cards, companies. I've said how about going, get your own end user customers. You can charge them more money, you can rely on them. I have my own clients now. So I have, basically the guy's, he's held it, he's got his own clients, he's got 2 curtain sides, he's using the CX as a backload platform. It's exactly what it was supposed to be there for, which is the idea being that, you're going to have your own clients around here, but if your customer wants you to drive up to Sheffield, you're not going to have your own clients in Sheffield, so you get the good money for your customer taking the job up to Sheffield, use the CX, come back. That's the best way to do it, but you do you. I'm not telling anybody what to do, I'm just passing on the information. Lee Westcott says everyone needs to look at the CX as a sideline, basically saying exactly what OK said. John Fennell, hello John, he's our man in Ireland, haven't spoken to him for a little while. He says, hi Pete, been a while. Yeah, you're right. Hope all good with you. Just thought I'd drop you a wee message concerning your latest video. Sound advice. He said, I'm still not a big fan of the CX, but I think it's best to be on the inside looking out rather than the outside looking in. I was still operating in London twice a week and I arrived back in Belfast. I'm straight out all day with very little sleep for another client. It's tough, but the financial reward is good. Oh, he's blew his van in October. That's a shame. But he's doing it another way. He started up on a CX in Belfast, realised the CX wasn't any good, but managed to get himself some end-user customers. So the only time he ever uses the CX is when he comes over to England and he'll check it from time to time. And occasionally, once in a while, and very, very rarely, because the Ireland thing doesn't really work well with the CX, there'll be like a package going back, like an envelope. He said, but sometimes I've got like 250 quid to take a box back because it's on a Sunday and it's got to be delivered on a Monday. It just happened to be around the corner from my house. So he doesn't go cheap because he knows the demand, supply for that kind of job is low. But at the same time, it really suits him. So again, everyone does it differently. You do you. Howard Cope. So I just watched your video, and by judging what you said and the other said, I don't think it's for me. I was full of enthusiasm for it, but after seeing other bloggers saying that don't start with the price of diesel and the joining fee and insurances and all that kind of thing. He said, with increases in gas and electricity and income tax and council tax, I can't see I can make enough money out of it. It's sad because I really wanted to do it, but just because there doesn't seem enough money in it to survive. Howard, I can't tell you what to do, mate. I always say people ever speak to me, if they ever ring me, have you got a family? Have you got responsibilities? How much money have you got behind you? How far do you want to work? Everyone says they want to work every hour, and they don't. But if you have listened to all of the advice and you have decided on balance that it's not for you, then I think you've made the right decision. You've got to make the right decision for you, and I'm not telling anybody else what to do. All I will say, Howard, is whatever you do, I hope you find something that pays you money, and I hope it makes you happy. Find something to do that you like, and then, it's just John Lennon, isn't it? If you find a job that you love, then you never have to go to work again. I like my job. I don't love it, but I like it, and I consider myself lucky for that. And Tiffy Cornwall says, Pete, if you say a few negative things about CX on the YouTube channel, do you think they would ban you from the CX? Yes, I think they probably would, if I sat there and slagging them off all the time, but I don't. For me, it works well. All I do is tell the truth. They could, I'd like to say I have no affiliation with them. I have to pay the fees just like everybody else. My dough comes from the Google ads and from the circuit channel. But and in fairness, before when I didn't have any dough, I just did it anyway. But yeah, I think they probably would, but I don't, and I think they know that I don't. I'm just honest. And like I say, last week in the lorry was very, very tough. Having said that, a tough week in the lorry is still better than a very good week in the Luton, so I ain't crying. That is that for now. Anyway, I'm sure it'll probably carry on, but there you go. Right, I also did one on the thing that I hate the most about being on a CX. Now, the thing I hate the most about being on a CX is having to ring up and renegotiate waiting time. Once the waiting time is done, I just dread it. It's not the only thing I don't like about the CX. I think the app, I hate the fact that the app is outmoded in the fact that if you're looking for a job in a certain area, and then you have to say, hang on, I wonder a job disappears. Or I wonder, because sometimes people send it through without ringing. So you go, right, I've just backtracked, and you have to backtrack about 5 different levels to see if the job's been sent through, realise it hasn't been sent through, and then go through another 5 different levels. I think they could make this a lot easier. Really. And I wish I had settings that every time I went to check for a job, I could actually go to pre-save settings and it just saved jobs from a 7.5 tonne to an 18 tonne, rather than every time I have to click the area, click the thing. So I do with small fleet, but the thing I hate the most is ringing up. And don't get me wrong, the guy on this one was good as gold. It's absolutely fantastic, professional firm, lovely firm. But sometimes you get, oh, what? Oh, I wouldn't expect you to say that. Like, oh, give it a break, mate. Anyway, Steve at SDC Services, oldest trick in the book. Happened to me the other day. 1 hour on top of 30 minutes free. Call them up and spoke to the same lass who gave me the job, explaining. She said, I'm not dealing with that job. I'll pass it on. Yeah. Oh, he's not at his desk right now. Oh, he's just gone to lunch. Has he? What, 3:30? He has a late lunch, doesn't he? I said, no, you're the one who gave me the job. You should be able to adjust the price. I don't think we have. And then it's, oh, I don't think we've got that much on the job. Not my problem. It's not my fault if you book a job and I'm there for 3 hours. And we go, well, I haven't got any money, so you can't have any money. No, if you ain't got any money, tell me that now, and I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just leave now with the stuff on board, and then we'll discuss a redelivery fee. But it's not the way it works, is it? Change it. He said, I've done my end of the job. Now you do yours. And I'll fire over the POD. Price change, you've got to stand up for yourself. You have. It gives them the negotiation, but I still hate it. Codex says, he said, I thought I was the only one. No, mate, you're not. I had the same problem with one of the big ones. 1, they didn't agree to the whole amount for waiting time, just half. 2, I got an email from the head office the other day that I need to amend the invoice or do a credit note because the price of the job is the original one, not the amended one after waiting time. What do you do? Normally what you do is you wipe your mouth and walk away. Hopefully it's not too dear and you go, okay, fine, I didn't get that one. Tomorrow's another day. Not right. It's not right, but it's okay. Mad Maestro. I feel your pain. Had one today at JCB Derby. Don't slag off JCB. Justin will get upset. Shipper advised that there's another one round the corner. I said, small van job, 30 quid, 22 miles, look like that in total. Add a £5 for the box around the corner. Add a £5 for the box around the corner. Turned out to be 1 times job to Burton-on-Trent and 1 to Stoke ST10. Both dropped to Uttoxeter, 8 miles apart, 1 hour's waiting time standard JCB. So basically that job was 1 hour that took about 3 to 4 hours with travel home, 50 quid in total. Yeah, beware of ST10, ST14 and MK17. ST10 and ST14 are Stoke, JCB. And ST and MK17 is Magna Park, Waitrose and Lewis's. And they don't, they can keep you there. They can be very specific about waiting time, entry times, and they can keep you there for a long time. I'm not saying don't do them, and JCB have got an awful lot better. I'm not saying don't do them. Just when those jobs come in, be aware of the fact you say, right, this is a score, but this is my waiting time. Or you ring them up and you go, look, is this JCB? And they go, yeah. I go, okay, fine, it's JCB. I know I'm going to be hanging around there a while. If they don't get me tipped in this time, it's going to cost you this much. They'll say yes or no. And then you give them the heads up ahead of time. And then they can't go, oh, you say, this is my waiting time. I know it's JCB. I know I'm going to be out there for a long time. This is my waiting time. A lot of the time they'll agree to it because they know. They do these jobs all the time. They talk to the shipper. Shippers are human people too. And JCB isn't that bad anymore, but just be prepared, Godzilla's. Oh, he also about my show. He said about the get out where you put in. He said, I start at 6:30 in the morning. He said, I'll drive to 8 o'clock at night. And like that, Luke, he's telling me that guy finishes at 2 o'clock in the morning. He's just started. He's doing well. He'll start at 8 o'clock. He'll start leaving his house at 8 o'clock. He'll work till 2 in the morning, and he works weekends. He said, but I ain't got a family. What else am I going to do? He's going to do a testimonial for me. So he's going to ping it across on an email. But he said, I get a regular job out of Feltham that takes me home. But it's a hermit's job, and it picks up at 10 o'clock at night. I said, I don't mind it. I look forward to it. I have a crack on with the people there. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm dropping off. They load my van because we're not allowed to. They unload my van. It's easy. It's easy if you want to work at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. And on Sunday you get more money. But you do you. You do it your way, you know. And you've got to put the hours in. It's not a magic wand. No one's going to knock on your door on £1 million and you get out what you put in. 3 things I've always said. Godzilla's. It says 250, the job I did, 250 mile, time delivery in 8 of them, handball thrown in. Sounds like someone got that job who's daft enough, someone to take it. I was daft enough to take it. The thing is, I've done these jobs before, and they've always been fine. The timings have always been fine. I've always got them done in time. I don't know what happened with this one, because I kind of figured, 250 miles, 8 drops. Well, they must have timed it. They must have worked out it's okay. I started to do it, I went, who's planned this? Because whoever's playing this has gone horribly wrong. There's no physical way you could have done that job with the driving hours, with the time, with the fact you can only go 56 miles an hour, with the amount of time it's going to take to handball it in and get it on the envelopes that they said they were going to get it on. Like I say, I could have done it and finished at 8 o'clock at night if drop number 7 had been on, but not finished by like 6. There's no way you could have done it by 6, and it really should have been 9. But there we go. Finally on this one, Van on the Run says, glad to hear you're hitting your target, Pete. I didn't this week. I'm way off at the moment. The vans are dire at the moment. I'm always trying to get them to voluntarily bring up waiting time charges, but some just won't. They just avoid it. It makes me cringe. I hate asking for more when they don't raise it, but it has to be done. The problem is a lot of shippers won't charge their customers more as they're scared of losing work, so they expect the subby to take the hit and be out of pocket. I know, mate. I know. It's a diesel theoretically. That's another thing that annoys me, right? So diesel goes up in price. Crude oil is really expensive, so the price rockets, and then the diesel crude oil comes down and go, yeah, we'll change it in 4 weeks. Why? You put it up that day. Why can't you put it down that day? All the time. Get your hand out of my pocket. But guys, I know it's tough, and it is. I just don't, it's getting warmer out there, and I just hope it gets better. And it's always a tough time of year, but yeah, fingers crossed. Right, trucks. Levent Moore says, hi there. Hope you're doing well. I am here and I would like to ask what would be your advice starting on the HX, please? Greatly appreciate it. I would say, if you want to start on the HX, there's a lot of stuff you've got to go through. You've got to start running trucks, which means operators' licenses, transport managers, something apart. First of all, you want to get an operator's license, then you want to buy a lorry, then you want to buy a truck. Then you want to get an operator's license, then you want to buy a truck, and then you want to sign up with CX and get on the HX, and then try and get your own customers. That's what I did. There's plenty of videos going all the way back from it. But if you've got a more specific question, feel free to leave it in the comments, and hopefully we can get back to it. I had a guy, by the way, congratulations to David, who got his operator's license this week. He rang me up to ask about the DigiView Plus thing. But well done, mate, and good luck. Manic Con says, hey Pete, I'm trying to go down the operator owner like yourself, just trying to figure out how to get a transport manager on the application. Should I get my partner to do the course, or is there a way to find a qualified person for me? I got my transport manager because he happens to be one of my friends, Daniel, who's a guy that I met at Giuseppe's one morning, who had a better truck than me, better van than me. Now I've got more better vans than me. I'm doing something wrong here. But you could do the course. The course is tough. Steve Campbell, by the way, didn't pass his transport manager course. He said I was unprepared, and I think I would prefer to be on the road than stuck indoors. You don't have to. You can do both, Steve. I was wondering if you could still be a transport manager. Hang on, something about getting tramping issues with his wife, something like that. You do both, Steve. Don't give up. You get more prepared. Go for it again, and then when you get it, you can drive the car, drive the van, and be a transport manager at the same time. Daniel does. As for Manic.com, I would say probably the best thing would be to Google it. Transport managers in my area, or if anybody knows, if you give me an idea of where you are, I'll put it out here again on the Sunday Q&A. Say Manic is looking for a transport manager in the Coventry area, in the Southampton area, in the Newcastle area. And if anyone is listening or knows somebody, maybe they can get in contact that way. If I can put two people together, brilliant. So let me know where you are. And in the meantime, Google it if you haven't found one. You could get your partner to do the course, but it's a long course and it's got a 17% pass rate. One day I think I'm going to have a crack at it, but not right now. I'm kind of busy. Also, Steve Campbell says, it's about the idea of, because I haven't got a sleeper bed in the van anymore. He says it's a good idea putting a caravan, put a caravan behind the lorry. Actually, it's a good idea to get a caravan because that way you can get a showman's operator licence, have less rules. I think they can use red diesel, don't need a speed limiter, and put a drawbar trailer. I'm not sure if any of that is true, Steve, to be honest with you. You can also park on village greens. No, I don't think so, Steve. Steve, family show, mate. I know where you're going with that. We have a community around the corner from my house, as a result of which I tend to lose more diesel than the average man. I haven't done that for a little while, touch wood. But no. Stick as we are, thanks. Get the hotel if I ever stay out. Nearly stayed out last night. Miscellaneous, here we are. We're on the home straight now. Godzilla's. He said, the chap on about people adding fees on afterwards. Yeah, he said the Birmingham CAS runs along road lines and not postcodes. A B64 postcode, some are in the CAS, some are not. So if a job comes in and it says B6 and doesn't mention it has the tax zone on it, then it's fair to call them after the booking and say that you agreed to because you thought when you booked the job on it didn't have a zone on, and now I put it in the sat nav and it has got a zone on. Only call up when you're sat on a ring road, though, as the job will get cancelled and passed over. If it's in the tax zone, it's mentioned and quoted on without sussing it, though. So basically, I'm thinking what happens is if the job comes in, I think if it's in the, I mean, I've done it before. If it's Birmingham, it's going to get worse. It's going to be Manchester. It's going to be Bath. Well, it is Bath already. You ring them up and go, look, is it in the zone? I'll do it if it's in the zone, but if it's in the zone, it's going to cost you another 50 quid because it cost me 50 quid to drive past the camera. If they turn around and say, no, it's not in the zone, then I would put it straight in the sat nav. You put it in a Waze, it comes up. There is a zone charge on this. Ring them back. So look, it is in the zone. I've just charged it. Do you want me to go and get it or not? Because if you do, it's going to cost you more money because it cost me 50 quid to drive past the camera. It's just, communication. Steve Campbell said, I thought Watford was in London. I also thought Luton was in London too. No, they're not. Although, bizarrely, we have London Luton Airport. I did this once. I went to Sorrento and we landed in, a long time ago, and I landed in Naples. It's an hour and 3/4 away. Kind of Naples, Sorrento. I thought, how is that a local airport? It's an hour and 3/4 away. That's not local. Land in the sea. Give me a parachute. Right, we had a couple of questions, a couple of points from Jessica Myers on Amazon Hermes. She said the warehouse staff are happy because every time I go into an Amazon, they're always really jolly. He said, but the drivers are definitely not. He said, if you need assistance because you're behind, your wages docked. If you're fast and you get a concession due to being quick and not being compliant, they stand you down. It's a lose-lose with Amazon. I reckon more drivers stand up to say something. Maybe it would get better. If you're doing the Amazon, if you're doing the Hermes or the Argos or the Parcel Force, I really would like your comments because we do have another sister channel on the Circuit channel, which we're trying to develop that can deal with it exactly like mine, but dedicated to that deals with the multi-drop, that deals with the issues you have, that can help people. So please, if you've got any comments on that, please send them my way because it would be appreciated. Callan Sinclair says, hi Pete. Hope you're well and under strain. Thank you for answering the question on Q&A. He says, I've noticed each courier service hasn't delivered their vehicles to help advertise their futures, for future services. As a CX sub contract requirement, basically, is he saying, do you have to have a plain van? It helps to have a plain van. And as Daniel's pointed out, he said, even if you put your own company and your name on, you don't tend to get any more jobs. What you tend to get is people ringing you up going, this guy cut me up on a roundabout. This guy parked on the corner of my house. I've got pallet way stuck on the side of mine at the moment. Does anyone know how you paint a curtain? I don't want to replace the curtain. It doesn't need replacing. But it's got pallet way stuck on the side of it. So what I want to do is I want to paint it out so it's just blue. can I just get normal paint and paint my curtain? I am very slapdash. I've also learned how to do the clicky bits underneath. I've had to replace a few of those. Might do a video about that. Yeah, but if anyone knows how to paint a curtain, tell me. And also how you repair them, because I've got a few rips and I presume I have to get a heat gun and some glue. But anyone who knows about this, that's what the channel's for. And finally on the miscellaneous is Lauren Cow, who says, what do you know about any van? Can you compare it with the CX and City Sprint chairs? I've never run on any of the other ones. I have tried a couple of them, and I've just, like returnloads.net, nothing happened. They charge us 50 quid a month. I think they still are. There are other companies out there that do other stuff. There's Shipley and Luke's. As I say, I'm not even touching Shipley at the moment because people are just moving stuff for stupid money. Like move a sofa 10 miles down the road for 15 quid. Oh, come on, guys, don't. There is a line. There has to be a line, What your line is, you decide. I don't tell anybody anymore because you just shout at me. But that you use your common sense on it, But yeah, there are other courier companies, but they don't tend to be. There don't be so many jobs. They don't tend to be live. They don't seem to be so. And the app doesn't seem to work as it does the CX, which is why we use the CX. And in conclusion, this week, Teddy Gas and Christian Gay said, "Have you had a shave? You've got more on your jumper." Yeah, the wife wasn't pleased. The problem is, I've got this razor thing. Never find anything that's bad. Don't want to look. Got this razor thing, and it's got the you've got this clicky bit that goes up. So it doesn't break in the bag, you click it up, have a shave, put it back down. So I always do in the lorry, because that way, otherwise, every time I sit at home in the sink, I don't know how, I just get hair everywhere. I'll wash it, come back 10 minutes later, the things have just reappeared. And I put it on the wrong setting. So, ended up relatively clean shaven for once. The last time I was ever clean shaven was the day of my mother's funeral. And that's not for, my mum's died, I'm never going to shave again. It's because I look terrible when I'm clean shaven. I've got loads of chins. So I thought, if I don't have a proper shave on the day of my mum's funeral, everyone's going to look at me and go, he hasn't to do the eulogy, And he said, it's in the book, by the way. Shall I go on, Mum? It's a cracking read. And everyone's going to look at me and go, he hasn't bothered to have a proper shave. So I had a proper shave. Thought I looked like a numpty. Did the eulogy, and I've never shaved again. Not properly. Interesting anecdote for you there. Right, that's all done. Sunday Q&A, like I say, this has been recorded on Friday morning, so if you comment on all day Friday or Saturday, it will click onto next week. I'm going to go and do some, I'm going to go and pick up now. That's all right, that's worked out well, actually. And I'm off to March in Peterborough with some pallets of cabling, which you will see if I end up doing Life on the Road videos. Interesting videos of me picking up cabling, driving, and having a nightmare. Hope you're well. I hope things improve for all of us. Hope we all take care and take lots of money.